Hello guys, so as you know, Geass Lost Stories is going to have its global release sometime this year. It told us it's coming up soon, so I'm quite excited for that. But one of the concerns people have is what we're going to get in that first drop. Usually when a gacha game goes global, it tends to be way behind the Japanese version. So if that's the case with Lost Stories, is it going to be worth going into that right away, or maybe wait a little longer for more stuff comes out? And of course, should you save your Japanese account when the global release comes out? And so in my case, I'm going to keep all my accounts because I do this on YouTube, so obviously I need to have the access to what's going to come out and what's already out to serve the two different fan bases, or probably both, honestly. We don't have to speculate too much because Geass released the Chinese version earlier this month. And so I figured if we go through that one and see what they got in that drop, that'll probably be a good indicator of what we're going to get when we get our version. So I accidentally downloaded the Chinese version instead of the Japanese version, and so I got a chance to play it. So let's go through the Chinese version and see what they got. Okay, here is BlueStacks. I downloaded both the Chinese version and the Japanese version. For some reason, the Japanese version doesn't work on my BlueStacks. If it works for you, please let me know how you did it. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong, but obviously something's not working correctly. But the Chinese version does work, so you got that. Let's click on it and see what happens. Make the big screen right there, full screen. By the way, I've already gone through the tutorial, so we don't have to go through that. It's roughly the same thing as the Japanese version, if you were wondering. Now, when you go with the Chinese version, you have to sign up for something called, Komoe Games, which you see right there, and I made an account for it. I'd have to do that with the Japanese version, and if I wonder if that's only for the Chinese version and not, let's say, the global release. But again, we'll see. So the game's gonna load up, and the first thing you notice is that this is the old loading screen. That's probably the Como account. So this is the old loading screen from when the game first came out. So obviously, we're not gonna have the Lost Zero arc when we get it. I assume that was kind of obvious, but there you go. So this is the first loading screen. Let's move on to the next thing about this. Wait for it to load a little bit. I think it has the same Arthur running screen, so they didn't change a whole lot. It's really just how they presented certain stuff. Get a second for it to load. Or a couple more, we'll see. Okay, so here's what it looks like. And Tamaki, hold on, let him finish. Let him finish. You to finish? Okay. So here's the menu of the game. Now, first of all, you'll notice right away that some of the text looks weird, I guess for the Chinese version, but what you're curious about is what's actually in this game. And looks like there's not a whole lot. I assume Arena is finished, so that's actually something we're getting. If you remember when the game first came out, Arena was not ready to go. So there will be a player versus player mode, I guess, on release. What about other stuff? Well, hit the menu here, and notice the costume function is not in the game yet. So that will not be available on first release, I imagine. How about summoning, right? That's important. What characters are available right now in the game? Well, once it loads. So it has this this banner, which is when you first start the game. This is a paid only. And here is C2, special pickup. She was a limited character when she first came out. Now she's unlimited in the Japanese version. So this is how you know how early the game is, because we're seeing C2 in the Zero uniform. We are way past that, though. Now here is the Scout, and let's go through what's in the game currently. Actually, that's my history. I always forget which button is which. This is the one I believe you want. Yeah. So right now in the game, you can get C2, Colin, Suzaku, Cornelia, Yuffie, Lelouch, Toto, Suzaku. You know, all the main characters you got when the game first came out. And that's it. And I assume that means we're going to get the same release styles we did with the other characters. Which is fine, and if you want to milk us for money, that's how you would do it. You don't want to have everything ready the first day if you want to make more money. So that makes sense to me. Still scumming, but that's how this works. It is a gacha game. So that's the current situation with the characters. Basically, everyone we got the first day when the game came out Japanese are the same characters we're getting in this version, which I assume will be ours as well. Again, it's the Chinese version, not ours. When that comes out, I'll of course let you know where we are with that. So let's go home here. Next thing I want to talk about are the characters themselves. So if you go to an individual one, let's say Colin, but it doesn't really matter who, and you go to level them up, you'll see here that it goes to 9. So they don't have the awakening increase that we do. So I imagine, like everything else, that's going to come much later. So Yeah. Not many characters. In fact, it's almost like this is the exact same version of the game we had when we got it in May of last year. Although I think Arena Mode was not ready yet. Maybe it's not ready here either. I mean, it is blocked out, so that could be a thing. Next thing I want to talk about is the quest. What's unlocked for story-wise? Well, expedition-wise, we'll go there first, then we'll get to the story. This looks like the first thing they released when the game came out. You can tell by the text. And then this actually looks more... Yeah, see, 1117. That's... Wasn't that the first one we got, I think, for Expedition Mode? Again, it's been a while since I played it. I thought it was this one. But again, it's been a while. I wasn't really, like, heavily competitive when I was playing it. I think if you go into this, too, it's going to be like that stupid, that menu. Oh, I think I skipped through it, but... Yeah, there was this, right? And then I think after that, there was, like, the Narita. So, again, it's been a while since I looked at it. Challenge mode in another mode, another story here. I assume you have to get a certain rank to use those, if they're even available in the game. The dailies is pretty much like how it was in our account, although I assume you have to unlock more of the stages to get them. Again, I have to go through this because it's been a while since I've actually looked through like how the game is when you first get into it. But I'm pretty sure you have to play the smaller levels to get to the higher one. Basically, everything is reset. Again, really weird font. And then for the story, it's, as you're about to see, it is chapter 1 only. See, just chapter 1. And essentially what that means is we're probably going to have to wait at least 7 months to get the full translated chapter 1. And by the time that happens, we've already finished probably the Lost Zero arc and probably into R2. So, yeah, we're going to wait a long time to get the story with subtitles, which is kind of disappointing, but again, that's expected when it comes to gacha games that go global. But this is probably what we're going to get when we get our drop, whenever that is. The only difference, of course, it'll probably have more subtitles to everything, not subtitles, translation to everything, so you don't have to guess what things do. So if you go to like any informational, like even this will be subtitled, for example. So that was a Chinese version of Geass Lost Stories, and probably a preview of what we're going to get when we get our global release. So there you go, guys. So let me know your thoughts on the fact that we're going to get the game way behind the Japanese version. Now that you know that, would you prefer to keep your Japanese account if you have one? Would you get it for the global? Are you going to have both? Even though the first year anniversary is almost finished, if you still want to know about those characters, I did 2 videos on them and I will link them up somewhere up here. So go watch them right now.